Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond the Lines. My name is Sarah, I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and today I'm gonna work on a 3-color challenge. A while ago, sometime last year, when the hair was long and stuff like that, it was less cold than me now filming here in January actually. Hubby helped me picking 3 colors that were random to him and me then as well. To have a 3-color challenge going on, which I always like to do every time one color segment is completed. So I did make this page here, which is from the Secret Garden Artists Edition by Johanna Basford. And I worked with the Kuretake watercolors. So it's just 3 colors and a tiny bit of white gel pen. So see how much fun hubby had when he chose those colors, and me now coloring. Sweet person next to me who's just greeting you there out in the internets is my sweet husband Daniel, who's gonna help me, Sarah the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, to choose 3 colors of the Kuretake watercolors. It's enough, babe. Of the Kuretake watercolors to work with. There's, I think, 36 or something color. Don't. You're distracting me. There's a color. See? He tried to keep a straight face. Not able to. There's lots and lots of colors. There's 3, 6, 9 rows with 4 pans. So please point at 3 of those with closed eyes so that we can choose the colors. Give me your hand. The palette goes from here to there. So please feel and point at the pans, please. This one, okay. This one, okay, good choice. And this one, okay, thank you. You can open your eyes. We do have number 66, number 54, and number 58, which are olive green, sap green, and indigo, which is one of my favorite colors. And you can see what I do with those. So let's get started. I took out the paper out of the book, which is what I like to do with that particular artist's edition. And I'm going to tape the page down at the edges, because what I will start with is the background. And you've seen that there's 1 blue and 2 green tones that I'm going to work with today. So let me just quickly tape this down. So there's 2 green tones and a blue tone that I'm going to work with. Now, watercolors do intensify layer by layer by layer. So I do actually have 6 6 different tones here. The most obvious change will be with the blue, from light blue to dark blue. So what I'm going to start with, and that's why I taped it down, is I'm going to water the background and then use the blue to have background going on, and then I'm drying the whole thing and then color on top the green parts. So I need a huge brush like this one here, and I'm just gonna water the whole thing, just like a cloud almost, not being too precise with my color here, but precise enough. Alrighto. Now I can use another brush, a round one, and dump in the color. I'm going to just spread it. Okay. Now I'm being very loose here because I want this to flow pretty much. I'm gonna add a ton of water in a second here again. This is all the pigment, maybe a bit darker down here. This is pretty much all the pigment I'm gonna need. Now I can dump in more water. Let things flow. Okay, that is enough. So I'm going to put away the water. Now I can dry things. All right, that is not too bad. I'm going to use one of these palettes here for mixing. It's just an old plastic piece. And I'm gonna leave this paper here taped for a little bit longer while I color anything that is a stem or a branch in this dark blue. Not really taking care of the pattern so much. I just want a very, very dark color here. Need a bit more water. Paper is still a bit warm, so it's not really doing the watercolory thing, which is letting color flow. So I'm gonna have to help it a bit by squeezing more water. Now the colors that my sweet hubby did choose here are rather warm colors, all of them. This blue here is what is closest to a Prussian blue. Which has quite the warm tint to it in comparison to, say, an ultramarine blue, which definitely is a cold blue. So, just gotta concentrate here for a second. The difficult thing is going to be having depth in this piece with only the warm colors. I don't really have a contrast that much, so by working with a coloring page that is, let's say, a bit two-dimensional. I mean, there's a scenery here, but it could also be just one outline thing here. It's the tree is alone on this page. There's no scenery around it. There's no background action going on. There's nothing there. So in a sense, this is rather a two-dimensional page, which
in this regard is to my benefit when working with only warm colors, because then it's really difficult, like I said, to create depth. So I'm going to have more of a two-dimensional or of a not so shaded page here, and work with different intensities of colors instead of having warm colors mixed with cold colors. And that is something that I like to do now and then. Just grab a couple of colors, it being pencils, markers, I don't care. I like to do the same thing with any medium. That's why pretty much any medium is gonna come up here in Beyond the Lines with this. And just take a few colors and see, okay, how can I make them work? In what kind of a surrounding can I make them work? What can I say with the colors that I was given? What can I do with it, you know? I sometimes like to do that, because when you're always having every color available in the book, it can be a bit boring then to, well, or not boring, but it's just maybe a bit too easy. You start reaching for the same colors over and over again. You're not expanding your horizon, trying to combine colors that are maybe not your favorite choices. So just to do that, I think especially with the watercolors here, hubby did choose the parts that are not used up to, well, to the bottom, like black, brown, purples. There's a couple where there's a well in there already. I think he felt for the ones that I don't use too often, so that I would have a bit of a challenge there, which I appreciate a lot. But it wasn't planned. Right. There's no more here. There's a branch. So I'm just coloring in the branches that I see, solid, with a rather heavy mixture of the Prussian blue, meaning mixture of water and the blue. So I'm having not a lot of water, so those stems will stand out. Okay. There we go, and then I'm going to add green to it. Alright, that looks kind of pretty already. This would mean winter, actually, to me. I need a new paper towel. So now I do have two olive greens, a light one and a dark one. So I'm gonna start with the light one here. Bring that in. Have a few of these tinier leaves here colored with a blob of color. I'm also going in the same circle, meaning I'm going back to the part I colored first, just using the maybe in between dried paper to my advantage here. Let's have these other leaf forms, like the pointy one down here. Let's have them colored in the same way. There's one here. And one here. Now, let's bring in the darker green and let's just see how that one colors. Just see they're quite similar. It's a little less olivey as the other color was, but I could actually use that color for shading quite a bit, or for just having a darker tint. But I want a few leaves to be solidly colored in that green tone. And I don't care if I'm staying in the lines totally, because with this blue background, it almost is, I think, supposed to look rather loose. So if I have a few things going outside the lines, I don't care. The stem, so the tree trunk, is pretty much in line there. That's enough. And now I want to mix the greens to have a few of the more prominent pieces colored. So all of those pointy leaves here get the same color combination, which is the light olive with a bit of Prussian blue mixed in. And I think for most of those leaves, I'm going to use the light olive color with variations of water, so that I do have a bit of a same going on for the leaves, but then again there's difference enough just by how much pigment is going to be on the page. So one going here. Just gonna use the dark mixture now and see where I want to put it. Maybe a bit more here. Just partially coloring in leaves. You don't always have to be super precise and color right up to the lines and things. You can actually be rather loose sometimes with the way you color with watercolors. Maybe not always, but well, sometimes that's a nice thing to do. It's way more painterly, so to say, which is a word, of course. Yeah, maybe where else? Oh, maybe this one here needs a bit of a darker color. So let's just switch to the light tone. I'm gonna have quite a bit of water with it. And just go for leaves that I think should have the lighter olive tone. So maybe the ones that are hit by light, if I would have a fixed light source, or some that are next to the darker colors, so that you have a contrast, like here. Get some contrast. Okay. Here's another thing I'm just thinking about. There's a couple of flower petals here. So I have to think about what I want to do with those. What color? I think I want them light, just like the light blue. So they could be in a maybe not monochrome world or a few colors only world. They could be white flowers or something on a tree. Like, I'm only going in with the light green tone now, by the way. And I'm just going all around the tree, not choosing particular leaves anymore on what to color what. Just dumping in pigment. And by using, or because I'm using watercolors, the light blue tint underneath will be re-liquefied. So I'm not just only having the olive green there for coloring, but actually a tiny little bit of blue as well in every leaf. Let's go up here. Okie dokie. Now I have to think. Yeah, I think I want to bring in a bit more contrast, so I'm bringing in the darker green again. And I'm just gonna add to some of the leaves just to enhance color there, meaning what I said in the beginning is by increasing the number of layers of the same color you get variation already, because well, you just got more pigment there on the page. So you can actually just work with one color and still have quite a bit of definition or shading going on, because you're just having parts of your artwork where there's one layer of color and in others there is 4 layers of color. So it's way more intense, way darker, stuff like that. I'm going to add a bit of interest here and there throughout the tree. Now I need a bit more of the dark blue to color a bit of a ground here, or a bit of a shading underneath the tree, just to ground it. Gonna mix in a tiny bit of the dark green as well. And now, so I'm definitely gonna make the flowers be white, but I'm gonna use a gel pen for that. But now I have to think about the birdies that are in the trees. So I think I'm going to give them a bluish tint, just to set them aside from the leaves. But I'm having a bit of a green in there anyways, so I'm just gonna put down pigment and then I'm going to come in with a bit more water. So I'm cleaning my brush and then just blending the pigment that I have just put down. With the background, alright. So this is almost like a nighttime scene from the colors. Needs a bit more pigment here and also here. So this is because of the 3 colors that were chosen, this is rather dark. But still, you could make it pop by using a tiny bit of white or black, which are non-colors, but I'm going to add a bit of color to intensify things, just also to use up the color on my palette there. Just adding a few more layers here and there. So otherwise I would throw that color away, and well, I could still use it on my tree. Just make for interesting shades there on the leaves. This is something, by the way, that I encourage you to do when you're still having color on your palette and you, well, are pretty much done, but you don't know what to do with that remaining color. Well, just mix it all up and put it down in the shadow areas of your coloring. Since these are all colors that you have used before, it's not gonna look weird, it's just gonna, well, have maybe a bit of an interest there. Alright, that's enough. I'm gonna dry this and then come back with a white gel pen. So before I bring in the gel pen, I'm also gonna take away the tape. Your paper is less likely to rip when you pull away the tape away from the paper and in a really flat angle. Just as a tiny tip there. All right. Just add in a bit of white for the flowers. Okay, now that I do have the flowers in, I'm just gonna add a couple of white dots here and there to the stem where I see that pattern, just to bring everything together. And then I'm already done. So depending on what colors you get when you choose them blindly, you could have a whole scenery going on, or you could, well, maybe not. Sometimes it's really difficult, I have to tell you. But always try, and if you want to learn something, if you want to test something, if you're maybe bored sometimes with what you do and just want to get a new perspective on something, I do recommend these 3 color blind drawing challenge, and then going with them for a drawing, a painting, whatever it is that you like to work in or with. So yeah, that's my piece here. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, as per usual. Next week, I'm gonna go back to the Outlander coloring book, and I'm gonna color a whole new scenery with you there and talk about what I'm doing when I have comic-y, modern looking line work. But I want to say this is an ancient old thing here. This is a long time ago that this happened. So I'm going to talk to you next week. Do all the good YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe, and close-up photos and a reminder of the numbers of the Kuretake colors that I used are on my blog, so you can hop over in case you're curious. Have fun, everybody. Have a lovely day, and thank you very much for watching. Bye!